As the International Eucharistic Congress in Ecuador comes to a close, we look back at our interview with the new Ecuadorian ambassador to the Holy See, Jorge Edmundo Uribe Perez, conducted before the event. In this discussion, Ambassador Uribe reflects on the Congress's significance for both the Church and his country. Speaking with Paula Arriaza, a correspondent from the EWTN Vatican Bureau, Ambassador Uribe discussed the Congress's potential to bring healing to a nation facing rising violence and instability. He also emphasized Ecuador's deep Catholic heritage and shared his personal hopes for the event's lasting impact.
Ambassador Uribe, thank you for granting us this interview. On August 26, you presented your credentials to the Holy Father. How was that moment? How was the meeting?
Mire, en realidad es un poco difícil de escribir la cantidad.
In reality, it's a bit difficult to describe the number of impressions one has.
Con el Papa, que es el Papa Francisco, que me acogió con mucha benevolencia.
He welcomed me with great kindness and a fatherly spirit. So, I felt very comfortable. I felt like I was with someone I had known for a long time.
Me dio una bendición.
He gave me a blessing, led me to the door, and said something very beautiful to me. He said, "This door will always be open."
How did you receive the news that the Pope would not be able to attend the International Eucharistic Congress in Ecuador?
Él me comentó que evidentemente le hubiera encantado estar ahí.
He told me that, of course, he would have loved to be there, but he had these trips planned to Asia, which he has been postponing for a long time. They're very long trips. He shared a bit with me about what those nations are like.
Y para Ecuador, pues, yo creo que este momento, el Congreso Eucarístico es...
As for Ecuador, I believe that at this moment, the Eucharistic Congress is very important, because Ecuador is going through difficult times as a country. Over time, the institutions have deteriorated.
Y ese deterioro de las instituciones ha traído un vacío de poder.
This deterioration of institutions has created a power vacuum that has been filled by criminal gangs. So, the Eucharistic Congress, given the current situation in Ecuador, is the best thing that could happen.
Ecuador está es lo mejor que le puede suceder.
How is Ecuador preparing for this moment?
Y acaban de ser 150 años de...
It's just been 150 years since Ecuador was consecrated to the Sacred Heart.
Esta consagración fue hecha por un presidente católico.
This consecration was made by a Catholic president, Dr. Gabriel García Moreno. He was truly Catholic.
Apoyado por ciertos sacerdotes.
And supported by certain priests, he decided to make the decision to consecrate Ecuador. García Moreno sealed this consecration with his martyrdom, as he was killed. So, it is a consecration made with the blood of the one who consecrated it. It is signed with his blood. This happened 150 years ago, coinciding perfectly with the Eucharistic Congress.
Justo coincide el Congreso Eucarístico.
And is this the reason why the Holy Father selected Quito to be the host of this Congress?
Yo creo que sí.
I believe so, and I'm very happy about it. I even feel like going, though I'm not sure if I'll be able to. I wish them the best.
Y lo más importante,
the most important thing is for there to be grace, because grace is what moves everything.
Que haya una gracia que...
That there may be grace that touches hearts. Ecuador is a wounded country at the moment. Very wounded. And very troubled.
What do you think will be the true impact of the Congress on the country and the local church?
Mire, a mí me da la impresión de que el país...
I have the impression that the country which has become violent will lose that violence. I hope that is the case, because if there is something that can truly transform a person, it's not arguments. In the end, arguments do not change people. What changes people is grace.
Lo que cambian las personas es la gracia.
What is the Catholic Church like in Ecuador, and how is popular devotion? What is the Church like at the grassroots level?
The Holy Father actually brought up the topic, exactly what you're asking me about. We talked about popular devotion. This popular devotion, which is characteristic of Latin America, Brazil, Ecuador, in fact, all the countries from Mexico to Patagonia.
Patagonia, tiene un ingrediente y un componente indígena.
Has an indigenous ingredient and component, but it needs to be understood.
En Quito una vez, en una iglesia que se llama San Agustín.
I remember once being in Quito in a church called San Agustín. A very humble man came in, and he approached a Christ figure there, called the Christ of Good Hope, which has a beautiful story.
Es un Cristo
It's a Christ seated in the midst of the Passion. The man approached, knelt down, and began talking to the Christ. But believe me, his faith was so profound. I thought, my God, this man is speaking with our Lord. He has our Lord right before him. With such respect, such reverence, and such certainty that he was conversing with our Lord, it left me deeply moved.
certeza de que estaba conversando con nuestro Señor que a mí me dejó conmovido. A mí me encanta Ecuador.
I love Ecuador. I feel very Ecuadorian myself, and when I see this popular devotion, I am deeply impressed.
Ambassador Uribe, thank you very much.